I'm never tired, don't feel no pain, 'cause I know you don't have what it takes. I'll build an empire from your mistakes. I'll build an empire from your mistakes. So try your luck, give me all you got. Only need one shot, so come and get it, so come and get it. So try your luck, give me all you got. Only need one shot, so come and get it, so come and get it. I am the fire, you know my name. You toil and tumble, you play your games, 'cause I know you don't have what it takes. I'll build an empire from your mistakes. I'll build an empire from your mistakes. So try your luck, give me all you got. Only need one shot, so come and get it, so come and get it. So try your luck, give me all you got. Only need one shot, so come and get it, so come and get it. So try your luck, so come and get it. Give me all you got, so come and get it. Only need one shot, so come and get it. So come and get it.
Well, it's the summer series here, COWZA in collaboration with ACGL, but it's kind of the turn of the season. It's Easter season, gifts all around, and we're bringing you the greatest gift of all, a lovely game of Overwatch here on the eve of what promises to be a very exciting long weekend, a rest for many of us, I'm sure, if we're going away. Travel safe, but for those of you sticking around, we've got some Overwatch for you. As I said, it is the summer series. My name is Sun Phoenix, and I'm joined once again here by Riz, and welcome.
What's up, man? Oh, so excited for today's game. I mean, you're saying a summer series, but I mean, it's been quite cold recently. I'm not sure if it's summer much anymore, but I mean, on the contrary, got quite the heated game today. Ducklings and Salamanders, two names we are quite familiar with, especially from last year. It'll be interesting to see how these teams have progressed behind the scenes, now coming back into the scene with the new summer series, and it's gonna be interesting to see how both teams have adapted, changed their play styles. Seeing a few new names on the rosters, slightly new names, not sure if it's new names, but new core positions rather. People kind of taking the front driving seat and a few others sitting back, but yeah, it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, promises to be a interesting matchup. I think on paper, one we're probably expecting to be more on the one-sided side, but these teams are coming in with different levels of preparation. I think Salamanders have taken off a little bit of time, you guys were telling me before we went live here, compared to Ducklings, which have been going pretty strong since the beginning of the year, or since the end of the Ethereal Crown. And speaking of the Ethereal Crown, kind of similar finishing positions in spite of the expectations going into that in the Ethereal Crown. Of course, being Salamanders coming into that tournament as one of the favorites. The top three teams, one of the three teams we were looking at to potentially take the title, but they ended up kind of disappointing in their performance when it's compared to Ducklings, who were on the other end of the spectrum, expected to be closer to the bottom of the final rankings, ended up doing pretty well to also finish the fifth, sixth, I think it is. So two different trajectories, these teams, but Pink Salamanders will be coming into this hoping to reclaim their previous form. So why don't we start with them, a team we are very familiar with roster-wise. It is, of course, going to be Trizzle and Nyan on the DPS, Blur as the tank, Fluffy and Metal Snow as the two supports. Risen, a team, 5 players we should be extremely familiar with.
Very much. I mean, Trizzle and Nyan been around for as long as I can remember, as long as I came into the scene, they've been there. Blur, Fluffy, and Metal Snow as well. Extremely excited to see Fluffy main roster again. Always like to see Fluffy play, flexing his, wouldn't say his signature hero Zenyatta there, but I'm sure Metal Snow has taken that spot.
Exactly.
Fluffy Zenyatta, not something to be underestimating. But yeah, I mean, Blur as well. Former coach of mine, has been around for, I mean, just as long as COWZA has existed, I'm pretty sure. So really strong team, really familiar with all of these names. It'll be interesting to see how they play today.
I have to rip the old heads, Risen. I hate to disappoint you, but he's not been around since the beginning of COWZA. I have,
yeah.
Other people have, but definitely long enough that it starts to lose any meaning at that point. Yes, I've been around longer, but we've both been around as so long, who cares, right? Let's take a look at their opponents. Relative newbies in the scene compared to the experience we just saw from the Pink Salamanders is going to be Eagle Eye Academy's Ethereal Ducklings. They've got Ripe, Voideroonie, Duelist, Novatic Queen, and Coconuts. A team, no unfamiliar names here in terms of players we've never seen before, but certainly a dearth of experience when compared to their opponents today.
For sure. I am relatively familiar with these names. Being like kind of a new gen, it's like you get to know the other new gens in the scene, right? I've played against every single one of these players actually, and quite an interesting team lineup. Most of the time they usually play comps that are not really like meta or like front and center, like, you know, this is strong kind of thing. They kind of play very, very weird stuff, especially with Adventure. We see is Venture's not really played that much now. I think the only time we've seen Venture is from Five Nights. That team composition is also very interesting in the fact of like Venture Zarya, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if EEA Ducklings comes with not really conventional comp, but something that they know that they're good on and have been practicing. Nevada Queen Coconuts are familiar with these players. Quite the strong backline. Nevada Queen's Ana is very interesting playstyle, and Coconuts also repping the Brig. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a few dive compositions from this team as well.
Well, let's take a look at our first map here. We do know what that will be. It will be Samoa. Of course, first map always going to be a control map, and we're going to be starting there. We also do know, Risen, our first ban here. Why don't we wait till both bans come out, I think, and then we can discuss that. So what are your thoughts on Samoa first up here?
Samoa for this map pool, I think it's been the most picked so far. People seem to be enjoying Samoa a lot. I
definitely feel like I've seen this map more than any of the others.
More than at least twice, you know. A lot of players. I think Samoa is a decent control map, and you can play almost anything on this map. I wouldn't say poke is like standard Sigma poke is generally played, but a lot of South African teams enjoy their brawl, right? So brawl can be played here, and I've been seeing a lot of dive slowly sneaking into the scene. It seems like people want to branch out more from this like old South African shtick of run it Reinhardt down main, right? So this map kind of fielding both compositions in the brawl and the dive. Teams can be very flexible in what they want to play, and I think that plays well into being generally prepared and not really being down and out if you can't play what you're strong at from the beginning, right?
Yeah. Well, we do now know our bans. It is going to be a Brig ban from EEA Ducklings and a Venture ban. You kind of mentioned the Venture not being the hottest hero, but definitely a hero that is extremely disruptive in their playstyle, and kind of a hero you don't want to be, have sprung upon you. Something you want to be prepared for, or otherwise take that opportunity to take the hero out of the pool. So yeah, I like these bans. I think Brig is a pretty solid, stable ban, a very popular support at the moment. And the Venture ban, your opponents have a player who feels like they're capable on that hero, so get rid of it and try and standardize proceedings, since you probably Salamanders think they're the stronger team coming into this.
Yeah, the Brig ban I think is a very, very like a Hail Mary to Licks. Because a little bit of behind the scenes insight. They have Licks on the main support position right now, and we all know Lixodian as the Lucio player, right? So I think maybe wanting to remove the Brig out of the equation completely so that they're not having to be forced on it. And the enemy team can't really play that heavy, like, sustained backlines. Like, I know we've seen a lot of Brig Juno, we've seen Brig Ana, you know, kind of heavy sustained backlines that they can't really. I'm thinking maybe dive from the side of Ducklings. Not having a Brig in response to that is quite threatening. And then the Venture ban from Sally's. Venture is really good at just disrupting many things, like brawls and tracers and actually I think and Genjis most of the time. It's like kind of hard to crack a Venture unless they have used at least one cooldown. So I think a Venture ban is decently strong. They also want, I think both of these bans is like, we don't really want to worry about that right now.
Yeah.
So we will remove it from the equation for now and just play our game.
Yeah, that's kind of the nature of the first ban before the game, before the series really gets started. You're not really sure what each team wants to do, so you take out what you don't want to play against more than trying to snipe anything your opponents might potentially bring to the fore. As we go further throughout the series, we'll get to see the responses teams have, and I really like the bans as being introduced into the competitive space. I think it adds a dynamic that I didn't realize Overwatch was lacking until it was filled. You know, it's kind of that I didn't know what I wanted until somebody showed me, and the bans kind of give a depth that was I don't want to say lacking. I think that's overstating it a little bit, but that I definitely appreciate the value of the opportunity to respond to what other teams are doing. And of course, just in case we're not aware, each hero can only be banned by a particular team once, so a maximum of twice throughout the series. You can only ban one hero from each role per match, so if Team 1 bans a tank, Team 1 has to ban a support or a DPS. And I believe those are the only rules, so as long as you follow those rules, you can take pretty much anything out, but it does mean you could never get rid of a hero for a whole series. It's not like for like MOBAs, for example, where you could conceivably ban the same 10 heroes for a 5-match series and never see them. But we do finally have our map unlocked here, ready to go. The team's a little bit tardy getting started, some technical difficulties for one of the players, I believe, but we are ready to go at it. Before we get started here, Risen, give me a prediction here, scoreline prediction. Who do you think is going to come on top
for this map?
No, for the series.
For the series, I think it's going to be a close 3-2 to Salamanders.
Okay, 3-2 to Salamanders. I like it. I'm feeling a little bit less confident in Duckling's ability. I'm hoping they can prove me wrong here. Maybe it's that old head in me that looks at the lineup of Pink Salamanders and said, that doesn't feel very easy to beat, but Ducklings with every opportunity to prove us wrong here. But we do see now what we're coming out the door here with. Both teams kind of want to get a little bit divey, get a little bit aggressive.
I really like the ball pick here and instant pause. But yeah, speaking about the ball pick, I've seen a lot of teams trying to adapt to this ball play style, and it's really interesting to see how each team does it. A lot of teams opting for the Kiriko Lucio backline. And I think Ducklings here are going for probably what looks to be a Genji Tracer, so kind of like a full commit backlineless dive, which is decently common with a ball. I think we also see this kind of comp played with a Winston. Some players just prefer the ball in this. And then Sally's going for the very greedy Ana Zenyatta Winston dive, which, coming from this backline, I'm not surprised. Metal Snow Fluffy, both very, very seasoned flex support players. And I think that Brig ban was kind of a blessing in disguise for Salamanders, having this double flex backline, not necessarily being forced onto a main support of specific kind. And if they can play this poke style dive better than Ducklings can, then I feel like they are in for a good run. But Ducklings also having this full commit, super fast rush front line. The backline from Salamanders are going to have to play a little bit of a patient game.
We do kind of have a gap in each team because neither team likely to be running the sim out the door here. I mean, further than out the door. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what they end up running. I'm trying to just put us back in the game, yeah, Peach, so we can see who's playing what. So we can try to figure out who is missing. Okay, so it's Nyan. I wonder what he plays here. Trizzle, a Tracer feels like it fits in very well with this composition. I don't know if you agree, Risen, but that's kind of been one of Trizzle's mainstays. But Nyan is a very accomplished Tracer in his own right, so it wouldn't surprise me to bring that out. And kind of the same thing on the other side, but I think they might benefit from something a bit more static, something like the Cass we saw played so effectively in Conquer the Climb, or more likely to matching up the Sojourn from Trizzle.
Yeah, I think Ducklings can certainly play a Sojourn or a Cassidy here, depending on what struggle you feel like struggling with. Cass having the struggle of no mobility, and Sojourn having the struggle of not really being able to survive without the mobility. It could certainly work out, but I think going for the Tracer swap kind of cements the full commit. Not really having a neutral, but being able to kind of just ignore everything and full commit on the backline, if you so please, is strong. And then Nyan swapping the Tracer here is probably the best pick, because I mean, they obviously cannot see each other's team comps currently, but having a Tracer to at least try and stop one of the flankers and have a bit of side map presence into this double flanker comp is beneficiary. I don't think them going anything other than Tracer or Genji in this situation would benefit their comp that much. It would kind of just cement the fact that their entire backline is very squishy and very susceptible to dives. So I think going something like Tracer here, which is most likely to happen from both teams, I'm fairly certain. I mean, if we look at the sim, it's the Symmetra TP is usually played by the most mobile hero on the team, right? Which is usually the Tracer. So I think we are most likely going to see a Tracer from each side, which I'm not necessarily surprised about.
Yeah, I think that does seem the most likely here. I'm also interested to see whether Blur sticks on this Winston. I know he loves a good ball, so it wouldn't surprise me if he sees Duelist come out on that hero and goes, "Okay, you want to play that game? I'm very happy to play that game," and he matches him on that. But I kind of wonder, Pink Salamanders, what their approach to the game is at the moment. Are they going to play ultra meta? It definitely looking at the composition right now, it definitely feels like they're leaning more in towards comfort picks. Obviously, the heroes are not weak, but they're not overly synergistic either. So, you're thinking about things like the Zen, like the Ana, not the typical meta picks at the moment, and definitely two heroes that two player hero combinations in Metal Snow and the Ana, and Fluffy and the Zen, that kind of give us the idea that these are two players who kind of want to just dominate on heroes they know, and that kind of, to me at least, kind of plays into my expectations of Pink Salamanders. They're a team that is going to outskill a lot of teams at the lower level if they don't get too in their own head, and when they play with freedom, they'll be able to dominate, and that seems to be their approach to at least the opening here on map number 1. Clearly, we're still waiting for some nonsense to sort itself out here. It looks like Duelist is having some ping issues and internet issues, but hopefully he'll get that sorted out in no time. But yeah, I mean, Risen, what do you have you been feeling about the summer series so far?
So far it's been amazing, man. It's so nice to see South African teams battle it out in a region that really stoops under the radar in the Overwatch scene, right? And I think putting one of my things about playing Overwatch as a South African is I really want to put this country on the map, right? And I think seeing other players who potentially share a similar vision, and a lot of newer teams coming in to play and just compete, even if you're a bit scared about how it's going to end up, you just kind of put your head down and you come and play, and then it ends up being something brilliant, and then eventually we can probably get this country on the map.
We will hope so. I think things like the Pride Cup and Conquer the Climb, even in those kind of tournaments, really introducing a lot of new players in a competitive space, but not so competitive as things like the Summer Series and the Ethereal Crown. So a lot of gateways into competitive play that's really exciting to see here. But listen, we do finally have a game unfolding here. 5 seconds to countdown. Duelist has not picked a hero, and that deeply concerns me. He picks the ball and he rolls on out now. Game number 1 here. This is, of course, a first to 3. Winner takes their way through. We didn't actually talk about where these teams sit in the tournament at the moment. Both teams having lost out to Inglorious Blasters, of course, best team in the country, and Duelist still, Ducking sitting on the bottom of the table, but we're going to lose out their first kills here. Both Duelist and Voideruni going down. Just a little bit too aggressive there. You see the Tracer for Nyan here was right, did end up going for that Sojourn, but so far, first team fight, a pretty comfortable clinical win for the Pink Salamanders.
We see the Echo Tracer frontline or side of Pink Salamanders. It's kind of counterintuitive to play a decently fast frontline like this with a decently slow backline, but it seems to be working in their favor. Once again, I wouldn't be surprised if Blur decides to take the ball switch when he gets the chance.
Yeah. I think if he dies, you'll probably see him switch, but Duelist gets aggressive onto the high ground, but the supporting each other there. Fluffy does end up dropping, but they trade out the tank. That's going to allow him to look to clean things up on the side of Pink Salamanders. Right, dropping low. He finds a kill into Trizzle with a great shot, but it's not going to be enough to keep him alive as Nyan tracks down the Sojourn. Both supports in trouble now. They'll have to peel for each other, keep each other alive. They do a good job for now, and Blur not willing to commit. Pulse Bomb charged up nice and quick, committed, but not going to find anything here. And that's going to be another clinical team fight from the team in red.
Yeah, Sally's just looking really strong in their position, being able to go first. A really aggressive approach with this Tracer Echo frontline.
Ooh, ball slams in once again, dropping a little bit low here, but comfortable enough in the HP department to get aggressive once again. Not able to find the targets he needs to, though. Where are the supports? Duelist is looking for them. Find them now, but the sleep is on the money once again. Metal Snow gets rid of the ball, puts him to bed, but they lose both supports in the meantime. Pink Salamanders on the back foot here, but it's an even fight, and with Blur finding Ripe, advantage is red once again. Damage is good. The kill is good. The bomb's not going to secure the kill. In fact, Voideruni, you're trapped in here with me. He finds both enemy DPS, but Blur, the hard counter comes in and gets rid of the Genji. Moves on to point now. Ultimate at the ready. Should he choose to commit it? Likely will, to buy time for his team. Keeping his body on point just to keep the percent ticking up. This is a good team fight for Pink Salamanders. No matter the result, as now Blur looks for the opportunity to find the kill onto the Sojourn. Right, dropping low, taken down. The Fist of Blur, good on this occasion. Might not even need the ultimate. That's another kill for him. Duelist goes down in the backline. There's an ultimate, but Zenyatta pops the ultimate. The Transcendence to keep the backline healthy, and Pink Salamanders, without even breaking a sweat, take map number 1. Well, the first point, rather.
I mean, looking really strong from Sally's. I mentioned that they're playing the decently fast frontline with a decent, relatively slow backline, but it seems like they're kind of giving the leeway for their frontline to walk up and then full collapsing on the enemy team when they try and walk their backline, which lets Middle Snow and Fluffy actually contribute damage to the fight while everything is on top of them. Yes, they may die eventually, but after they die, the damage is pretty much done. And Ducklings struggle to recuperate and sustain after the fact. I think Ducklings just need to kind of take a more sneaky approach and look for this backline and kind of wipe them out before Salamanders has a chance to react.
I feel like Duelist is maybe a little bit disjointed from the rest of his team here. He just seems to find himself isolated on the front line on occasion. But speaking of front line, Blur on the front line, the enemy back line, he's found a couple of heroes here. He's taking a lot of damage, but he's not going to go down as I say that, right? Finds a shot on him, but there's a lot of damage coming through onto the blue team. Nixodian is taken down here. The Lucio not able to stand up to the heat, being put out by the Tracer's pulse cannons here. Fluffy finds one, Nyan wreaking havoc in the enemy backline, and once again, might lose a player or two, but those players make enough space to keep the rest of the team healthy and secure a couple of kills. So Pink Salamanders again, Blur back in the mix here. That's going to be another quick cap for the team in red as they stamp their authority here on Samoa.
We see the Kiriko swap coming out from Fluffy. It leaves a decent amount of of like flexibility now for Fluffy to just kind of move around the map without getting punished as much as he was on the Zenyatta. So I think it's a lot more flexible for Salamanders to kind of perform a more aggressive playstyle like they were in the beginning without having to sacrifice everything.
Oh, Nyan drops down there. Good work from Lix. The Boop secures the kill onto the Tracer. Now they will look to move forward here, Ethereal Ducklings. That's the opening they needed to try and find a target. The Sojourn doing a lot of damage, but dropping low in the meantime. They do take down the Echo. And now Blur, he's going to be dropping low. No ultimate available for him. He has to beat a hasty retreat here. Kiriko trying to find targets, but right on the money once again with the railgun in Voideruni, looking for targets, finding them deep, and will back out now. Finally, some purchase here for Ethereal Ducklings on Samoa.
And Voideruni just looking so crispy on the Genji right now. If you let him free, he will absolutely destroy your backline, it seems like currently. I mean, Ducklings struggling a bit, but not looking down and out just yet.
No, not just yet. 24%. They should even things out no matter how this team fight goes. And Coconuts, he gets the opening kill, but he will pay for it with his life. Trizzle avenging his support here. Can they find more? Lixodian the target here, but Nine not able to keep up with the Lucio. A common problem, but not one that Tracer often has. But here comes the Genji Blade. Duplicate to keep himself alive, but it's not going to do so for long. But it might be enough to keep him in the team fight, and it will do just that, burning a lot of the time from the Genji Blade, and they do pick up a kill in the meantime. But Pink Salamander's on the back foot here. Ducklings coming in strong here as Trizzle looks to pump out damage with the laser beam, but it's not going to find anything. Two crisscrossing Kitsune rushes here, so a lot of ults committed into this, and good healing onto the ball. Julius, he's found a good rhythm this one time, not overextending in quite the same way he was in the previous round.
We see Julius kind of playing around his team, diving on what his team is calling, and kind of making Nyan's life a misery. Nyan not really being able to find any angles with this ball on the map.
Yeah, and Ripe, he's been on the money with the railgun. He finds one there to start the team fight. Drizzle's had enough of the Echo. He decides he wants to play a different bird. But can they find Blur on the way out? Not just White. Julius going deep, but not so deep as to put himself in any danger. Blur coming in, pops the Primal Rage. He doesn't need healing. He just wants to get in, and he finds a kill on Exodian. No ultimate available for him anyways, but that's limited healing now as Ripe goes down as well. A lot of kills coming through, and finally Pig Salamanders rebuffed for a while, but not forever, as they get control the point here. They've got a long way to go before they win the map.
Yeah, we see a ton of shocking ultimate economy from both teams. Pulse bomb for the clock. The next fight, Salamander is going to have to be really, really careful playing around this clock. Nyan maybe looking for the pulse on the Sojourn if this is tracked correctly, but this fight could go either way.
Could well, this pulse bomb could be key, as you say. Nyan looking for targets, will come around the back here. Not really hiding. He wants to put damage down if he can, but he's definitely looking for target. He gets the stick. Does he get the kill? Yes, he does. 1-2, count him up. Lixodian and Ripe sent back to spawn the quick way. But they're so deep here on the side of Ethereal Ducklings. They can't back out now. They kind of need to force this team fight out if they can, but they're not likely to win it. They do get one kill, but they trade it out. They're going to have to see if they can back out maybe. Overclock available will do this going down. Yeah, the back call comes in, and now they'll finally regroup. But that was a lot of time burnt off the clock, Risen.
Yeah, I think early pulse bomb from Nyan really cements the fact that they can get up to last fight territory now. But this clock gleaming over Salamanders now. What are they going to do about this?
Scoreboard pressure, pretty much. Ripe finds a kill onto Fluffy once again. My screen is paused. I'm back. Don't panic, Ripe. He's back as well. He's found 2 kills with the railgun. Can he find any more? Does he even need to? He does have to back up. Be careful here. Are there no healers alive? I don't think there are. As Void when he pops his ulti. Strike from above. Who's the Pharaoh now? Justice reigns, and it comes in the form of a blade. And that's going to be it here for this map. Can anyone get the touch here? It's not likely. The boops. The control is too good. Pink Salamanders pushed back. Ducklings in the game.
I'm not sure what to make of that. Is it the Zen swap that like maybe dropped a bit of the DPS from Salamander's side? That's a problem, or did Duelist finally chat to his team and be like, guys, come on, we gotta lock in here?
Yeah, it might be like some nerves, some giddiness, you know, and he's been having tech issues as well. So maybe he just needed that map to kind of center himself again and and kind of, hook up with the team, because definitely felt like he was working together with his team much better on that second map than on the first one. But looking at the compositions here, no real changes worth noting. But Trizzle, back on the Sojourn, kind of felt like he wanted the Flyers to work that previous map, but wants more consistent damage now.
Let me see Fluffy back on the Zenyatta as well.
Interesting that. I wonder what is different about the previous map that when compared to the first and third maps here. Looking for targets here, Trizzle. He's going to try and flex his muscle here against Ripe, who's been so good, but Voideruni taken down by Blur. You've got to keep out of the range of that monkey if you want to contribute to the team fights, but the Genji just too far forward, or maybe just precision play from Blur to track him down and take him down in the middle of that team fight. Jan, bring the pressure on the back line, but once again, Pink Salamanders will get a comfortable first cap.
Yeah, Shani's taking that really strong, really a testament to the power of Sojourn. I think Sojourn's really staple pick. And now Salamanders, again, having this really high DPS backline with the Harness and Sojourn down. Blur basically just has to make sure they don't die, and they could win fairly easily.
Could indeed here. Forced back a little bit. Happy to just poke it out for the time being, but this is a team that's very good at poking. Here comes Julius once again. Fluffy dropping low, but the heal is there to keep him alive. A big anti-heal to rebuff the DPS once again, and they get both kills. Voideruni, Julius taken out there. Excellent work from the two Pink Salamander supports. That's the difference this map when compared to the last one, I think, Risen.
Yeah, the longer map, definitely a strength for Zenyatta here. And looking at the ultimate, no real ultimates really coming into play yet, but Meadowsnow will look to build this nano up for the fight to come. But I think we cannot count the Kitsune Rush from Coconuts either. That ultimate builds at a rapid rate.
Really have a tank to heal, though, is the problem. Julius ends up dying without pulling much resources from his own team, which is often a good thing. But not in this case, because the support outs are pretty far behind on the blue team. But Blur dropping low now. Primal Rage already has to back out. Does so, and Voideruni taken down by Trizzle, who's been excellent on the Sojourn so far on this map. Julius in the back line, slipped up, punched up. There's the head, line him up, get him down, and that's going to be it. Great work from the two supports once again. The difference between the two teams, I think, Risen, is once again, 80% of the clock, Pink Salamanders unfazed on map number 3.
Yeah, I think the longer maps, Julius seems to be struggling to get any tangent in with his Genji, and I think I really want to see Voideruni swap the Tracer here, being able to close the distance a lot faster than a Genji can in this situation.
Might not have the time, unfortunately. Ripe under pressure. There's a monkey in the backline, and he punches down Ripe with the Primal Rage. Trizzle secures the kill onto Coconuts. 1, 2, 3, 4 kills in a matter of seconds here. It's last man standing. Voideruni not on point, and Pink Salamanders, a bit of a hiccup on map number 2, but back to a dominant form to take Samoa.
I think we've seen that last fight there. It's kind of just gets stalled out all game, and then when you finally gain some ground, they're just staring at you with 5 ultimates. It's like, what do we do now?
Here it is, actually, from the eyes of the monkey here. Blur finds one, secures the kill onto Coconuts with the help of Trizzle, and then just jumps through. Him and Trizzle just cleaning up in that team fight.
Yeah, and I